Hi, it's Kamon Reynolds, and welcome to the Package versus Nuke Challenge. So my wife and I run a few hundred colonies, but we have this challenge going over here where we started off with 3 packages over there, 2 nucleus colonies over here, and then off of these 2 nucleus colonies, we made 2 more, doing 2 different types of splits. We'll leave the link in the description below if you want to see how we made those splits. And if I have my way, we're going to be making at least 1 more split before the end of our season. I'm in North Middle Tennessee, by the way. Now, these packages over here, many of you already know this, but this one went completely queenless, and this one had a terrible package queen that just could not build up. None of these 3 packages drew out a double deep's worth of foundation. They only drew about 12 to 15 frames out of 20. Both of these drew all of theirs out. Of course, they were nukes that we made from our own queens and overwintered, and we installed 5-frame nukes into each one of these, and both of these drew all of their combs out fantastic. And then we have this colony right here, which we're going to be doing the same thing we're fixing to do that one here in just probably just a little bit, but I'll just show you how we're going to do that one because it's going to be the same thing. And then this little split over here, which is going to overwinter really nice. Yeah, wow, they're already growing really quickly. So that's great. A lot going on here, but we've been splitting today and grabbing some queens and stuff. But let's show you what we're going to do. So again, this one had 2 deeps worth of bees, but we took a full deep and devoted it to that one down there. It went and gave it a new queen. And this one still has our 2018 September raised queen. So she's just hit pretty much a year old. And now we're going to hopefully get another deep drawn. We'll see how good the fall flow is. Some years it's great and some years it's not so great. But I think it's going to be good. All we ask for is an average one. So basically what we have is 10 frames in this colony. We're going to be taking the 10 frames that was in this bottom box here, and we are going to be managing and moving them around a little bit. Wow, okay, so the frame on the far right over here is just solid honey. Now I'm sure that there's some of the feed that we gave them in summer. And this has got capped brood and brood that's fixing to be capped in it. Got some brood here, so we're going to leave that below. Now we're going to be taking the 10 frames and space them to 9. There's a couple reasons we're going to be doing that. Now you can keep 10 into the bottom boxes. That's very okay and normal. Some people, like myself, like to drop to 9. It doesn't make the bees any healthier or less healthy. It just makes it a little bit more cost effective for me and easier to get in and out. So she's laid a good pattern there. That's a bunch of larvae right there. So we're not going to go through every one of these. We've got brood over here. This colony, it took a little while for them to balance themselves back out because we took almost all of their nurse bees when we created that split there. And like I said, I'll leave that below. It was a very, very strong split. So what we want is one of these frames to come up above, and yeah, this is the one that I want. It has a lot of larvae in it. Alright, so stick these down here, and we're going to stick some foundations on top. Wow, there's a lot of nectar in that one. The fall flow has just started. I'm shaking out nectar today, which is great. It's the first time I've done that since early June. Wow, okay, there's the queen right there. Got all kinds of bee bread over here. This frame is not completely drawn. I doubt this is their frame. Keep in mind, if you've watched the Package versus Nuke Challenge videos, you've probably seen a couple times where when we requeened the 2 over here on the left, both of those were really imbalanced because of going queenless and the other one just having a terrible queen that just could not get it done. There's actually in the combs, and I'll try to show you that at some point when we get back to those colonies, but they'll have like a really good comb, but instead of having like a smooth bit of worker brood, they'll have throughout over here, they'll have a drone cell, and that's where she was misfiring, and she was laying drone eggs down into where she should have been laying worker eggs, another sign that she was a poor queen, and she just couldn't build that colony up to save her life. But unfortunately, those combs are ruined, not ruined where you can't use them, but they won't fix them at all. So every time she gets to that cell, and there's several hundred in there, every time she gets to one of those cells that they've already widened, she's going to lay a drone egg, because she bases what she lays off of the size and the diameter of the cell. So the queen goes to that cell and she measures it, and if it's a certain size, then it's going to be a worker, and if it's quite a bit larger, then it's going to be a drone egg, which is an unfertilized egg. Okay, yeah, that's the one we're pulling up. So this comb right here, we're going to throw it right down the middle. So now we have our handy stainless steel frame spacer, so we get the 9 nice and even. Alright. Definitely don't do this right before winter. I have plenty of time before my winter starts. If I want to do this right before winter, my bees are going to fatten those combs up just a little bit. Okay. That looks pretty good right there. Yep. Alright, let's get this next box on. I really do like these cypress boxes. When you stick them on the ground, they get pretty dirty though, if you leave them on the ground for a little while. So all we're going to be doing, now, I just interrupted myself again. All we're going to be doing is basically sticking these foundations up in here. These are some old frames. We don't purchase these type of frames anymore, but they were from Kelly's, and this is back when we were using wax foundation. So this is, of course, plastic right here. But anyways, let me see if I can get that out of there. Alright. So you have this groove down in here, and the foundation goes down in there, and it comes up in here, and you got some hooks, and this is wax foundation, mind you, and then you have a little cleat here, and you either staple or nail that up in there, and then you cross wire it in. It's a real pain in the rear end, and that's why we've switched to plastic. Plus, we can use our own clean beeswax to roll on this plastic, and that's what we did with these right here, is we re-rolled them, and you can't really see it, but they have a nice little layer of beeswax on them, and it smells delicious, and I'm sure the bees appreciate it. They seem to draw very well with them. And so now we're going to take this comb right here that's got larvae, and the reason we want larvae is because that forces the bees to come up here a lot, because they have to get a lot of attention if they're going to reach maturity, a lot of feeding visits. And so that's what we're going to do right here. Now, we might go ahead and feed them a little bit if the flow is not real strong. Just once we see that they start drawing, we'll give them a little bit of feed, because we want to make sure all that gets drawn out really good. But hopefully the fall flow will be good enough that they'll be able to take care of it. But probably we'll have to feed them a little bit anyways. And we wouldn't have had to feed probably any at all had we not split them in half. But we did anyways. Whenever you split colonies, you set them back. But I mean, pretty much that's all there is to it right there. Whew, cricket. So if you have any comments or questions on anything that we did here, feel free to leave them below. Hopefully, again, like we said, we're going to be able to split one more time. We'll probably have to feed this one to get it to draw it out completely. We'll probably have to feed a lot of them to go through winter. But ultimately, I'm pretty happy with what we have here. And better stay tuned, because we're fixing to do a split, and it's going to be different than all of these right here. We haven't done it yet. Anyways, thanks for watching the video.